it then begs the question, how do you prevent war? I always love Marcus Luttrell, the Navy SEAL, who is kind of memorialized his entire story in the movie The Lone Survivor. He was one of 4 Navy SEALs on a mountain. 3 of them end up dying. He has this kind of almost unbelievable journey to survival. And he's giving a speech one time, and he says that he was talking to a politician. And he said, "Hey, your job is to never send me anywhere. You're a diplomat. Use every tool you got to solve the problem. Because by the time you get to me, I only know one thing. I bring death, destruction, and hell and fury with me. And I do my job. If you send me, it's because you failed. I am the last resort. And I'm good at my job, but I am the last resort." And I always think about that, right? Is people are so quick to say, let's use the military. Let's deploy men and women overseas. But instead, if we actually had more focus on the diplomacy, on the ability to negotiate with both our friends and our foes and be able to prevent war, how much better off would we be? Again, it's not always possible, but having the military strength to deter people and also having the diplomacy to be able to negotiate with people is pretty important. Another thing I think I learned is leadership. And I was fortunate enough to go to a specific leadership school in the military. I really took away a lot from that. But you didn't have to go to those leadership schools in the military to pick up on simple things. The leaders of a team eat last. You want your men and women to eat first. There's this great book by Pete Blabber. He's the former Delta Force commander. It's called The Mission, the Men, and Me. And what he talks about, he goes, the mission comes first, comes before my men. You always complete the mission. But next comes my men. And then only last do I service myself. And so that mentality of, again, collectivism, the ability for us to rally together and sacrifice for each other at the goal of accomplishing the mission is kind of embedded in everything the military does. So I think it's those types of lessons. But then there's a human element to it. I was fortunate enough, I deployed with a lot of guys who were very different than me. They grew up in Western Pennsylvania. A lot of them live in areas that I didn't even understand until I met them. A lot of them were older than I was when I deployed. And so I got to see a whole different aspect of life. I was in college when I deployed. These guys had mortgages. I'm worried about what frat parties on Saturday, and they're worried about how am I going to feed my kids. Way, way different way of viewing the world. So I was able to grow up much faster than most people. But on top of that, the things that they cared about, things that they did on a day-to-day basis, right, was very different than the world I grew up in. And so when you put yourself in those environments, you just naturally start to be more empathetic. You start to be more understanding that there's different views of the world. There's different things that happen. And so I think that if we can take young people and put them in different environments, even if it's for short periods of time, there's a lot of benefit that comes. It's hard to pinpoint and say, I learned X or I learned Y. But what you start to do is you start to gain understanding. And I think that the more understanding we have, the more ability we have to see that not everyone is like me, not everyone thinks like I do, not everyone has the experiences that I do, the more that it starts to bring us together rather than pull us apart. And really, if you look at a lot of what we talked about today, that probably could serve us pretty well in terms of creating solutions. Kind of feeds into this idea of competing, not complaining. A lot of people complain in the world, but the best people I know, both in terms of success, but also happiness, they compete. They compete to be a better father. They compete to be a better friend. They compete to be a better business person. They compete to be a better investor. And so if you do that over and over and over again, you end up actually in a situation where you're self-improving and you're pulling the people around you, that leadership component, you're pulling those people up with you. And if you do that enough times, then everyone around you gets better, you get better. And if you do it with great skill and I think enough reach, you can actually help change entire communities. And that's really what we need, right? Going back to, that city council member may be more important than the president of the White House. How many people on that city council are really doing things that are best for their community versus doing what's best for them? Every city's different, every person's different, but the more people we can get that are working towards the collective good, I think the better off we'll be.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, This bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.